The night before the wedding, Ethan called me. Can we deposit all the dowry and bride price into my mother's account after we get married? I did a quick calculation. Just over $1 million, no big deal. Then can you accept living with my parents after we get married? Respecting elders? Not impossible. Seeing how readily I agreed, Ethan was overjoyed. Honey, I love you so much. Is there anything else you wouldn't do for me? I smiled slightly and opened my lips. Yes, I can't marry you. Ethan was the dog I fawned over the most. During college, he peeled 5 boxes of nuts for me with his bare hands. He would walk 4 blocks in the heat to buy me a new milk tea. He would remember my menstrual cycle and pick out the most suitable sanitary pads for me without the slightest hint of embarrassment. We naturally ended up together. We were even the sweetest couple on the campus wall for 3 years. After graduation, to help me avoid drinking in business settings, Ethan learned to drink straight from the bottle. After moving in together, I had white rice porridge every morning and a foot soak before bed. He never made me angry. He reported all his relationships with other women to me. There was only one thing. His little thoughts were too obvious. He was obsessed with holding my hand or hugging my waist in public to assert his ownership. But I knew he was just insecure. Ethan came from a rural family where 3 generations had worked in farming. He himself wasn't bad. He graduated from a top-tier university and had an offer from a listed company. But family background isn't something that can be achieved in just 1 generation. My family isn't extremely wealthy, but we own several properties. We have several million in savings. Over the years, my friends have often told me they think he's after my money. I always just laugh it off. How could that be? He's Ethan, after all. He's the nicest one. So we smoothly got engaged. I only asked for a symbolic dowry of 30,000 yuan, and my family covered all the wedding expenses. Ethan's parents have also been very kind to me. But after we got engaged, perhaps because everything had gone too smoothly up until then. Perhaps because the years of pretending had been too exhausting. Ethan's hidden flaws finally began to surface. The night before the wedding, I was applying a face mask and chatting casually with my parents when I suddenly received a call from Ethan. Tomorrow is the wedding. I'm so excited I can't sleep. How about you? Glancing at my parents, who pretended not to hear, I quietly turned down the volume on my phone, turned my head away, and whispered, "Me too." Ethan continued talking to me for a while. At that moment, he was just like he used to be. The same gentle. The same deeply affectionate. But just as my parents gave me a signal and stood up to leave, the unexpected happened. Ethan suddenly asked me, after we get married, can we deposit all the dowry and bride price into my mother's account? I was completely taken aback. What did he mean by that? My parents had specifically prepared a dowry of 1 million yuan for me to ensure my quality of life after marriage. This dowry, along with the 3,000 yuan dowry Ethan had given me, was all intended to be brought to our new household after the wedding. But what did this money have to do with his mother? Why deposit it into his mother's account? Seeing that I didn't respond, Ethan hurriedly explained. Young people like us tend to spend money recklessly and can't save much. Don't worry. My mom is just helping us save it. She won't touch the money. If we need it in the future, we can ask her for it any time. Hearing him say this, I began to understand. He was testing my bottom line. If I agreed, it would be best. Over 1 million would be mine. If I refused, he could just say it was a suggestion and drop it. A win-win deal. But Ethan, even if you're as good-looking as you are, you'd have to work nonstop for months just to make 1 million. I casually turned on speakerphone and replied nonchalantly. A mere 100,000? No problem. There were 2 faint chuckles on the other end of the line. My parents, seeing my unusual behavior, didn't go out and turned back to sit down. Just as I sat down, Ethan's voice came again. Can you accept living with my parents after we get married? And my younger brother. My mother's brows furrowed deeply. That's right. When we got engaged, we agreed that after the wedding, we'd live separately and neither set of parents would interfere in the young couple's life. Why change the rules so close to the wedding? And to make matters worse, even my brother wants to live with us? What kind of family would do that? But I just smiled faintly. Respecting elders? It's not impossible. My parents looked opposed, but Ethan let out a sigh of relief. Seeing how readily I agreed, he was overjoyed. Honey, I love you so much. Is there anything you wouldn't do for me? I lifted my hand to remove the face mask, smiled slightly, and opened my lips. Yes, I can't marry you. The phone fell silent. This time, it was my parents who laughed softly. Soon, Ethan realized I was teasing him, and his tone carried a hint of anger. Don't be so stubborn. Marriage isn't a small matter. The invitations have already been sent out. What are you saying now? I found a comfortable position on the sofa, raised my hand to touch my forehead, and laughed coldly, my tone devoid of any warmth. Ethan, is it because I've spoiled you too much that you dare to push your luck and go back on your word? It seemed like I had completely provoked him. A sharp female voice rang out. Junior, is this the honey you found? She has such a bad temper. Where's the femininity? It was Ethan's mother. I realized. So her obedience toward me was all an act. This family of farmers moonlights as actors? Ethan half-heartedly urged his mother to stop talking and repeatedly emphasized that he would come to pick me up tomorrow, get married first, and discuss everything else after the wedding. I didn't say anything else and hung up the phone. Before the phone even had time to turn off, my mother couldn't hold back anymore. What does his family think they're doing? Do they want to be childless? I nodded noncommittally. So the wedding is canceled, right? My father gave a sinister smile, rubbing his hands together. No problem. Cancel the wedding. I'll handle the Phoenix Man. We quickly removed all the festive decorations and sent notifications to all our relatives and friends. We all went to bed. The next morning, the makeup artist still came. I deliberately didn't cancel the appointment. After all, even if we weren't getting married, today would still be a significant day in my life. No need for a bride's makeup. Change it to a mature woman's makeup. The makeup artist was a bit confused but did as I asked. 2 hours later, I looked in the mirror and was very satisfied with the result. How to describe it? I exuded confidence, with a beauty that seemed to say, now that my husband is dead, I'm ready to take on the world. After the makeup was done, I naturally didn't wear a wedding dress. Instead, I chose a dress that was elegant yet casual, clearly meant for everyday wear. Once I was fully dressed, I opened the door and went downstairs. In the living room, my parents were also dressed in their usual casual attire. We exchanged a smile. It seemed our family shared the same mind. Soon, the sound of music grew louder as it approached. It was Ethan. He had come to me. Perhaps he didn't believe that someone would be so shameless as to back out on the eve of the wedding. He clearly didn't take my words from yesterday seriously. That's fine. After pretending to be a lamb by my side for so many years, he almost convinced me to marry him. Such a humiliating experience was a first for me. I was just wondering how to retaliate. He came up to me and offered his face for me to hit. How could that not be considerate? Ethan's groomsmen were all from his village. Upon entering the house, they saw that there was no festive atmosphere. Whispers began to spread. Ethan's expression changed repeatedly. When he saw that I hadn't even changed into my wedding dress, Ethan finally couldn't hold back anymore. Why haven't you changed yet? Missing the auspicious time will affect our family's fortune. Looking at this arrogant and domineering man before me, I couldn't connect him to the humble Ethan I remembered. Perhaps he felt that since the wedding was already set. The die was cast, so there was no need to pretend anymore. Could he now treat me however he pleased? I made it clear yesterday. I'm not getting married. Seeing my firm stance, Ethan softened. Don't be like this. I was wrong yesterday. My parents have already scolded me. I promised to do everything as before. Let's just get married first, okay? The relatives are all waiting at the hotel. Don't make everyone lose face. It was strange. Even though Ethan was still acting familiar and trying to please me, I couldn't find a single trace of the feelings I had when we were in love. I felt that behind his retreat, there was a strategy of retreating to advance. I'll marry you first. Then after the wedding, you'll bring your parents and your brother over and the four of you will take turns tormenting me, forcing me to pay money to keep you quiet? Or should I marry you first, so you can use me as leverage to constantly demand property from my parents? Ethan, I really envy your skin. It's so well maintained. As if I had hit the nail on the head, Ethan flew into a rage and started spouting nonsense. Hannah, don't be so unreasonable. You're just a woman I slept with. Who else would want you if I don't marry you? I couldn't tell if Ethan truly believed that, or if he was just trying to humiliate me. Either way, my dad was definitely behind this. Forget it. With my daughter's looks and family background, you wouldn't even qualify to be her backup. You're just a lowly dog. Even a fly landing on you would have to spread its legs. You know what I mean. Hearing my father use such vulgar language, my mother quickly covered his mouth. Haha, everyone, don't misunderstand. What he meant was, my mother looked Ethan straight in the eye. Bastard, your mother is dead. Everyone. Seeing how our family spoke, Ethan finally had no face to stay any longer. Before leaving, he glared at me and said, Hannah, I thought you were different from other rich people. I guess I was wrong. I had no objection to that. Right. I am indeed different from other rich people. I'm not as stupid as they are. But who told Ethan? That rich people are all love-struck? Can't I have the main female lead script? If you dare to mess with me, don't blame me for going all out. As a rich person, I not only want to get back all the money I spent on Ethan during our relationship. I also want to retrieve the job I used my family connections to secure for him. I'll also hire a private detective to keep an eye on him to see if he does anything else out of line. Unbelievably, this surveillance actually uncovered a shocking scandal. The day after the divorce, I thought about how my parents had specially bought a wedding house for Ethan and me. The double happiness characters inside the house hadn't even been removed yet, and I already felt it was an ill omen. When I drove to the wedding house and opened the door, what I saw left me speechless. When did Ethan's family move in? My marble dining table was covered with a floral tablecloth. All the French-style vintage decorations had been removed, replaced with ceramic horses and golden money trees. The cream-colored carpet was covered in black footprints. There were even burn holes on the sofa from cigarette butts. The originally green curtains had been torn down and piled up as trash on the balcony. Little one is back, isn't he? The first to speak was Ethan's mother. You're such an irresponsible child. Your parents are still alive, and you dare to put white flowers in the house. And the green curtains you picked out? They're so unlucky. People might think you're cheating on JoJo. I'll teach you these things in the future. You're not very good at social etiquette, and you even argued with Yo-Oh yesterday. You didn't even show up for the wedding banquet on such an important day. But we're your elders, so we won't blame you. Hearing her say this, I was so angry I couldn't help but laugh. Destroying my house without permission, and you're so brazen about it? I didn't even go inside. I just called the property management right away. After sending the message, I walked past Ethan's mom and asked him directly, "Didn't you tell everyone that the wedding is off?" Ethan stammered and couldn't answer for a while. In the end, he could only manage a "Don't be angry. I apologize to you. We've already set the wedding date. Whether we have a ceremony or not is the same." His words made me want to clap for him. I never noticed before that Ethan was the second in command in both the math and English departments. 2B. We haven't even gotten married yet. What are you trying to get close to me for? I mocked this shameless family in front of me. But I never expected. This family truly thinks outside the box. Ethan, you still love me, don't you? Let's go get married right now. Ethan's mom, Shawan, whether you get married or not is the same. In our village, many people didn't get married and they already have several children. What's that called? Oh, right, common law marriage. Mom is an open-minded person. As long as you two, the Thompsons, have a good relationship, you can skip the marriage certificate and the wedding. Faced with the shamelessness of this mother and son, I had no words to refute them, only insults. Are you all in the business of selling suppositories? Can't sell them, so you're using them on yourselves? Why are you spewing all this crap? It took them a while to realize I was calling them full of shit. Just as I was about to retaliate, the timing was perfect. The property manager arrived. He interrupted their nearly erupting insults. Miss One. As the financial backer and owner of the apartment, the property management recognized me. I pointed at Ethan's family. Why are these three demons allowed in my home? The property manager looked at Ethan. He said he's your husband. I've seen him with you before, so I assumed. I nodded, understanding the property manager's meaning. I had indeed brought Ethan here before, and because I was sometimes too busy with work to oversee the interior design, I had even asked Ethan to help keep an eye on things. That's how Ethan came to know the front door password. But he actually used this to play a trick on me? I looked at him with contempt. I had underestimated him by thinking he was an honest person. I am not married to this man, and we have no legal relationship. He is no longer associated with me. If he comes back, just kick him out. The property manager looked stunned for a moment before starting to follow my instructions. Ethan and the others refused to leave. As the loudest voice in the Liu family, Ethan's mother, she charged to the front. This house is Junior's wedding home. What right do you have to kick us out? You're just a property manager, a servant of the homeowners. Who gave you the nerve to offend us? Those words were indeed harsh. They were enough to offend all working-class people. I sneered. If she's so capable, why doesn't she go to the police station and shout that you're all her servants? Why doesn't she go to the city government? After all, they're clearly labeled as public servants of the people in textbooks. Bullying property managers is no big deal. Property management isn't someone to mess with. They immediately called security to come upstairs and assured me that they would defend my legal rights as a homeowner. And defend their own human rights. I held back a smile, nodded at him, gave him a thumbs up, and took the opportunity to call the police. You like to cause trouble, huh? Well, I happen to be the one who deals with troublemakers. When the security guards arrived, the situation became even more chaotic. To avoid being evicted, Ethan's mother first claimed that the security guards had taken advantage of the situation to touch her private parts, calling them outright thugs. She then started shouting that I, who hadn't registered our marriage or held a wedding ceremony, was her daughter-in-law by her own declaration, and that I was colluding with outsiders to seize her property, the house my parents had bought for me. Finally, she even dragged me and the property management into it, claiming that the property management must be my mistress, otherwise why would they go out of their way to help me? Neighbors from upstairs and downstairs all peeked their heads out to look at my house. I didn't care. We're rich people. We have thick skin. After all, if you have any dignity, you wouldn't have accumulated this much money. Besides, I didn't do anything wrong. The police arrived just as Ethan's mother was shouting the loudest. As soon as she saw the police, Ethan's mother rushed over, tears streaming down her face, and cried out, "Officer, please save our family. My daughter-in-law is having an affair with the property management, and she wants to kick us out so she can take over my junior's house and use his money to live her own life." This time, I really clapped for her. "Oh, Auntie, you're still single? You rhyme so well. Are you planning to take the graduate school entrance exam?" After confirming that I had called the police, the officer asked me, "Who does this house belong to?" Before I could answer, Ethan's mother interjected, "It's for my junior's wedding. Here's the property deed. I bought it with my own money and only my name is on it." I cut Ethan's mom off. Was she never going to stop? "You've been living here for a few days and now it's yours? Why not just say the solar system is yours too?" After confirming the property owner's information, the police officer asked me, "What is your relationship with that gentleman?" Ethan's mom's words were so dense and numerous. "She's my junior's girlfriend. He's been sleeping with her for a long time." I rushed forward and slapped her across the face. A crisp slap echoed through the room. I nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. Apart from the sound of an ATM dispensing money, I swear that slap was the best sound I've ever heard in my life. I dated his junior for a while. Before we got married, he demanded a house, a car, and that I deposit all the dowry and bride price into his mother's name. I told him to get lost. After all, if we're breaking up, the next one will be better. Just as I finished speaking, someone from the neighborhood quietly said, "6." I scratched my head awkwardly. Standard procedure. After rummaging through my bag, I handed the police officer my marriage status certificate and said, "This proves I'm single with no prior marriages." After understanding everything, the police issued a warning to Ethan's family. They told them they must leave immediately, otherwise, they would be charged with illegal entry into a residence and could be detained. With the police speaking so firmly, Ethan's family had no choice but to pack their belongings and leave reluctantly. Just as they were about to leave with their luggage, I called them back. "Hold on." I smiled and pulled out a few more pieces of evidence. These were the furniture purchase receipts, home surveillance videos, and an audio recording. "Officer, they also damaged my personal property, totaling 134,800 yuan, with surveillance footage as proof. This woman just insulted me, a innocent young girl, and ruined my reputation. There's audio evidence." "Who?" "We should add charges of intentional property damage and defamation." "Bah." Ethan's mother immediately protested, "But you hit me. You have to compensate me." I laughed. "Sure." He pulled out a stack of money from his bag. "Wait. All right. How about I just pay for the entire year?" XIN 06 Public. After Ethan's family was taken away by the police. Everyone. I hired a cleaning service to come and clean the new apartment. Number. I also threw away the sofa and bed that Ethan and his family had sat on and slept in. I found them dirty. I planned to replace all the furniture. While I was organizing things, a young woman suddenly came downstairs to find me. She secretly told me that after Ethan's family was taken away by the police, they were afraid of being detained, so they actually assaulted the police. This was perfect. Free food and lodging, a 1-month stay at the police station. By the end, the young woman was slapping her thigh and exclaiming, "That's awesome." I looked at her with interest. "To be honest, you were the one who shouted 6 earlier, right?" But she didn't notice at all and even got more excited, talking animatedly. "Sister, you're so awesome. Men like that belong in a crematorium or a garbage heap. They definitely shouldn't be allowed into your house. If it were me, I'd..." "Me?" "Her." The air fell silent. To be honest, it was the first time I'd been flirted with by a girl. Weird, but interesting. The little beauty's face turned red, wanting to explain but not knowing where to start. I had no choice but to help her out. "Add me on WeChat? Once I've redecorated, I'll invite you over to my place." After adding me on WeChat, the little beauty walked away, glancing back every few steps. Before leaving, she whispered to me, "Sis, don't be so strict about gender. I'm easy to please. As long as you have a Porsche to ride in." Pfft. After returning home, I went over the entire incident with my parents. My dad looked down on me, Ethan has some brains, but not much. He spent all these years chasing you. Why didn't he wait until after the wedding to make such demands? My mom didn't agree. Didn't you hear Ah-hung say? Their family already considers him one of them once they're engaged. The wedding is just a formality, and the marriage certificate is optional. I think their pre-wedding antics were a test to see how we'd react. If we hadn't canceled the wedding out of face saving, they'd have lured Ah-hung away, gotten her pregnant, and then used the child to blackmail us. I agreed with my mom's analysis. Their little schemes might work on others, but they won't work on me. I cleared my throat, ready to make my point. Don't even mention just being engaged. Even if we're married, have a certificate, or even have a child, as long as Ethan dares to have those underhanded thoughts, I'll kick him out anytime. I got married for a better life, not to suffer. Hearing this, my parents nodded in agreement. There's nothing I can do about it. My dad is a romantic at heart, and my mom is a strong, independent woman. They've been in love their whole lives, and sometimes even I can't tell if the baby my dad is calling is me or my mom. They've never been through any hardships themselves, so naturally they don't want me to go through them either. Besides, our family is really quite wealthy. What kind of family would make me settle for less? But my dad was still worried. Princess, will this Ethan thing make you lose interest in marriage? My mom looked stunned. You mean lesbians? Me. Female, attracted to men. Thanks for asking. I'll keep enjoying men. Don't bother me. However, during this highly unreliable postmortem, I suddenly recalled some details about Ethan's younger brother, whom I had never met. The first time I went to Ethan's house, his parents sent his younger brother away. They explained it to me like this. They were worried he was too rowdy, so they sent him to stay with relatives for a few days. At the time, I just thought it was a polite gesture and even felt grateful for his parents' concern for me. But, with such terrible parents, would they really be that kind-hearted? Moreover, Ethan later even suggested that after marriage, he wanted to bring his brother to live with us. It seems I need to investigate further. I directly contacted a private detective. I have a feeling this matter is far from over. A month later, Ethan's family was released. After skipping work for a month, even if he were really my husband, no company would want to hire him. Moreover, I had already issued a statement declaring that Ethan and I were no longer together and that everyone should stop showing him any favors out of consideration for me. So, after being released, Ethan wasn't just facing a broken heart, he was also unemployed. With no options left, they decided to cause trouble. But I never imagined they would stoop so low. Lately, people have been adding me on WeChat, asking how much I charge per night. I felt sick to my stomach, so I blocked and reported them all. But I never expected things to get this complicated. It even affected my family's company's reputation. A rumor suddenly spread in the industry, saying my dad was a pimp? That he frequently introduces female employees to various business partners. Even his own daughter wasn't spared. And former female employees are even coming forward with real names to testify? Where did this come from? You should know that my father is a love-struck fool who doesn't even know how many departments his company has. Every time he comes to the office, he looks so composed, but he's just there to bring lunch for my mother. Without my mother, this family would have gone bankrupt long ago. I don't even believe that my mom is a pimp, let alone my dad. I quickly had the company's legal team launch an investigation. Upon investigation, it turned out that the source of this rumor was Ethan. He had been spreading false rumors about me behind my back. He took my daily photos, blurred them out, and posted them on the internet and some illegal websites. He even described in detail the intimate details of our relationship. The writing was so vulgar it could pass for a lowbrow rural erotic novel. I couldn't believe it. Does he really think that as a victim whose portrait rights and reputation have been violated, I'd feel ashamed, humiliated, and want to die because of this? I seriously doubt that having a small brain is hereditary. with just a few edited photos and some fabricated essays. They think they can ruin a girl's entire life? Who gave them the confidence to do this? That night, the women in the legal department worked overtime fiercely. They all held their breath, quickly organizing the relevant materials. After all, this was simply too malicious. Today it was me. Tomorrow it could be any one of them. Because of a few fabricated photos, she had to endure the malicious stares of the entire society, even the world. She even became the object of comfort for strangers in the dead of night. Just as all the materials were compiled and handed to me, the private detective I had sent out uncovered a shocking scandal involving the Liu family. After reviewing both sets of materials, I curled my lips into a cold smile. Ethan, I'm starting to look forward to the sight of you being disgraced and ruined. After sending Ethan a cease and desist letter, I sued him directly in court. On the day of the trial, I specifically requested a live stream across all platforms. When asked about the defamation incident, Ethan denied everything. Even when we presented evidence proving that all the online posts were made by him, and that he was the one who leaked the information to the media and our company's competitors, he remained unfazed. Your Honor, those photos are real. I just blurred them out because I didn't want my ex-girlfriend's body to be seen by other men. Is that not allowed? As for those little essays. As he said this, he gave me a lecherous glance up and down. Hannah, Miss Hannah, you're even wilder in bed than I described. What? As the party involved, I shouldn't know about our relationship, or do you lawyers know better? Have you slept with her too? Hearing Ethan say this, the onlookers began to insult him for being shameless. The girls shouted the loudest. They wanted to take off their shoes and throw them at Ethan's disgusting face. Silence. The judge had to step in to restore order. I wasn't as angry as the others. I object. The defendant's short essays are fake. Because, after scanning Ethan's lower body with an even more lecherous gaze than Ethan's, I mocked him. He can't last that long. He needs pills to get hard, and it's over in a few seconds. He's useless, just fantasizing. This time, Ethan's face turned red. His mother was shouting at me from the audience, accusing me of spreading rumors. I didn't get angry. I tucked the strands of hair that had fallen around my ears behind my ears and asked her calmly, Auntie, I'm not the one who knows about the private matters between a young couple. You should know better. Have you slept with Junior? Your family is such a mess. The courtroom erupted into laughter. The judge had to step forward again and shout silence. Jokes aside, I knew Ethan hadn't used my photos for personal gain, so I couldn't really hold it against him. But this wasn't my ultimate goal anyway. My second charge against Ethan was bribing others to fabricate false information, causing economic losses to our company. Ethan naturally denied it. His confidence stemmed mainly from the fact that when he bribed our former employee Emily, he paid her in cash. Without bank records to corroborate the claim, he could easily wash himself of the charges. However, his arrogant demeanor cracked when Emily took the stand. Because Emily said, regarding the accusation that Hannah Group's senior management was involved in prostitution, I was purely instigated by someone else. It was him, Ethan. Because he couldn't marry Miss Hannah, he harbored a grudge against the Wen family and gave me 200,000 yuan to spread rumors outside. I didn't want to, but he offered too much. I offered more. I looked at Ethan challengingly. I sneered. How did he come up with the idea of buying people's loyalty with money? In terms of wealth, could he possibly match me? I directly gave Emily 500,000 to turn her against him. So easy. Sometimes, the battles of the wealthy are just that straightforward. The charges were ultimately upheld. The court sentenced Ethan to 2 years in prison and ordered him to compensate for part of the losses. Not much, just a mere $1 million. Seeing him barely able to stand, I smiled triumphantly. Ethan, I told you before, You're not worth $1 million even if you sold yourself. So how dare you casually ask me for my entire dowry back then? I thought it was over. Ethan's mother had even started comforting his son. It's only 2 years. Mom will wait for you. But I remained calm and pulled out the final piece of evidence. I dropped a bombshell on this already absurd case. Don't speak too soon. You might not even live to see him get out. Your Honor, I have a third charge against Ethan. I accuse him of. After slamming the documents on the table, I spoke with hatred, rape of a minor, resulting in pregnancy. Ethan, if you were just after my family's money, I could have spared you. If you were just spreading rumors about me, I could have spared you. But how dare you? Just because of a momentary urge, you ruined an innocent girl's life. Scum like you deserve to rot in the trash heap. So, Ethan, go rot in hell. I'll send you there myself. To be honest, when the private detective told me that Ethan's younger brother, whom I had never met, was his biological son, my worldview shattered instantly. Ethan had been with me since college, and I was certain that during that time, he hadn't been involved in any murder. First, he didn't have the time. Second, no one had ever come looking for me, and I hadn't heard any rumors. So, the child must have been conceived before he went to college. Monster. How old was he back then? And the girl he abused and forced to give birth to his child, how old was she? No wonder Ethan's parents didn't dare to leave the child at home when I first visited. They were probably afraid the age difference would tip me off. And I actually misinterpreted such a malicious motive as a sign of care. Thinking about it now, it's utterly disgusting. The private detective also tracked down that poor girl. Her name is Sophia. She was once an outstanding student, consistently ranking in the top 10 of her class. She could have had a bright future. But in her sophomore year of high school, Ethan ruined her life completely. She had stayed up late studying at school and was rushing home when she happened to run into Ethan, who was drunk from drinking with his seniors. Sophia was a soft-looking girl, the kind of face that could easily be mistaken for an honor student. In the middle of the night, in an empty place, she encountered a handsome and vulnerable man, and with alcohol in her system, she was vulnerable. Ethan dragged her behind a pile of hay and forced himself on her. What a desperate night that must have been. After what happened, Sophia dared not tell her family. Her grades plummeted. And because she didn't tell her family and didn't take precautions, her belly grew bigger day by day. At first, everyone thought she had gained weight because of the stress from her poor grades. By the time she confirmed her pregnancy, it was already too late for an abortion. She never had the chance to attend university and escape that backward mountain village. Not only that, but she also faced the cold stares of the entire village, with everyone blaming her for being so young and not studying hard, yet ending up pregnant. Under her parents' relentless questioning, Sophia finally revealed the biological father's name, Ethan. How absurd. When Sophia's parents went to Ethan's house to confront him, Ethan's mother, in front of everyone, said that Sophia must have thought Ethan would amount to something in the future, so she used the child to keep him and force his family to marry her. Ethan was even more disgusting, saying that when he slept with Sophia, she wasn't as tight anymore, so she must not have been a virgin, and why should he be responsible? During that time, Sophia was constantly pointed at and gossiped about wherever she went. She was soon expelled from school and developed severe depression. Fortunately, she eventually managed to pull through. However, after the child was born, Ethan's mother took him away, claiming that the eldest grandson of the Lou family cannot be left to fend for himself. Sophia's parents also did not want the child to be a burden on Sophia's life. The two families agreed on this. That was that. Ethan's junior became his younger brother. He continued his education and achieved great success. Sophia's glory, however, remained frozen in her sophomore year, in that pile of hay. A clumsy phoenix flew out of the mountain village, But the true phoenix fell. I initially didn't want to disturb Sophia's life. Though the fault wasn't hers, it was still someone else's scar. If possible, I hoped the scar would heal and fade away, rather than be reopened. It was Sophia who reached out to me first. She saw the rumors about me online. By chance, she also found out that Ethan was behind it. So she reached out to me and offered to testify in court. When Sophia appeared in court, Ethan nearly burst with rage. "How dare you? What are you doing here?" But Sophia wasn't intimidated by him. She might have been a bit timid, not used to accusing someone in public. But she was very strong. Despite her hesitation, she spoke clearly and exposed every sin Ethan thought he had buried. She buried him deep in the pit of his own crimes. Ethan was finished. With Sophia as a witness, plus the paternity test and the birth certificate from the gynecological hospital, Ethan was completely defeated. Defamation and rape of a minor. He was sentenced to 10 years. When the verdict was handed down, Ethan's face turned ashen. "Hannah, you bitch. You ruined me. If I could, I'd slap him across the face 10 times. Did I make him force a woman against her will? Did I make him commit bigamy? Did I make him spread rumors? Don't be ridiculous." But then I thought, the sewing machine will take care of him. Don't dirty my hands. So I smiled and waved at him, "See you in 10 years. As we left the courtroom, Ethan's mother rushed toward me and Sophia. "You two whores. You were both slept with by my junior. How dare you team up to scheme against my junior? You'll both die a miserable death." I shielded Sophia behind me and snapped the finger she was pointing at us. "Old hag, I'll demand compensation for the damaged furniture, economic losses, and every penny Junior spent while he was under my care. If you can't pay, you'll have to sell your house, your car, your body, or your kidneys." If I were you, I'd hurry up and pick up the empty water bottles from the gallery while the janitor isn't looking. Every penny counts, don't you think? After this incident, Ethan's family indeed lived a very miserable life. I nodded satisfactorily. My demands weren't high, just as miserable as Sophia's life in her sophomore year. As for Sophia, I asked her if she wanted to stay in the city to work as my colleague and fight alongside me. She agreed. Perhaps she had already had enough of the villagers' ignorance. That place may have been paved with cement roads. But the deep-rooted gender bias and objectification of women in people's hearts had never been extinguished. A year later, Sophia had shed her timidity, growing into a confident and composed young woman. Yes, I would call it blooming. In my heart, she is still the girl she was before that incident in her sophomore year. Because she is forever beautiful, forever full of promise. At the year-end party, she received a large performance bonus, enough to buy a house in the city. Half drunk, she asked me, "Why did you go to such lengths to mentor me?" I ruffled her hair. "Well, I've had a dream since I was a child. I hope that all women, if they have the ability, will create a better future for other girls. If they don't have the ability, they should create a better future for themselves. We are the best." End.